Today, we're going to dive into a pretty radical, almost utopian proposal for how we could spend our final years. But this whole idea comes with a really mysterious catch. So let's see what this is all about.
It's a question we all have to face eventually. Is getting older a time of wisdom and peace? Or is it something we're supposed to be afraid of? The article we're looking at today really gets into both sides of that coin.
All right, so before we can even get to this new vision for aging, we kind of have to face the music. We have to look at how things are now. And the source material gets pretty real about a reality that, let's be honest, many of us fear, but almost none of us talk about out loud.
Look, this is just the fundamental biological truth, right? Our bodies change, our minds change, the independence we're so used to can start to fade, and suddenly, depending on other people becomes the new normal. And that isn't some kind of moral failure. It's just part of the journey for a lot of us. The real question is, what happens when there's nobody there to depend on?
And this is where the source material gets, well, really intense. This is a direct quote, and it highlights the absolute ultimate fear, being completely and totally alone at the very end. It's a powerful, really disturbing image, but it shows you just how high the stakes are in this conversation.
So, if being alone is the thing we're all terrified of, what about the systems we've built to stop that from happening? Well, as we're about to see, a lot of those traditional safety nets, they're just not holding up anymore.
You see, for centuries, the answer was simple: family. Your kids would take care of you. But modern life has totally changed that. Kids often live hundreds, if not thousands of miles away, or they're just stretched to the absolute limit managing their own jobs, their own kids. The source makes a really key point here. It's not that adult children don't want to help, but that the way our society is built now often means they simply can't.
Okay, so if family isn't an option, what about professional care? Well, the author really doesn't mince words here. A nursing home, in this view, isn't a place for living. It's painted as this sterile place where you just wait for the end. It's a solution that might solve the practical problems, but it starves the soul.
And this really gets to the heart of the problem. Even in the best-case scenarios, maybe you have family helping or great professional care, there's often this deep inner sadness that never gets talked about. It's that feeling of being a burden, that loss of purpose. And because of that, the source argues, true happiness in old age is incredibly rare.
Okay, so after all that doom and gloom, the article takes a sharp turn. It pivots from that really bleak reality we just walked through to something genuinely hopeful, something that sounds almost like a utopia.
But what if we could just redesign the whole experience of aging from the ground up? What if we could create a system that was actually designed to create joy and community, instead of just managing decline?
So here's the vision they lay out. And it's not just about services, it's about building a real community. Imagine this: you're surrounded by friends your own age, but also by young people and kids. You don't have to worry about cooking or cleaning or laundry ever again. There's entertainment, there are games. Help with personal care is always there, and this is key, it's provided with respect, not like it's a chore. The whole point here isn't just to exist, but to live a life with real dignity and connection.
And this is maybe the most profound claim of the whole thing. The idea is that in a community where you feel valued, you're cared for, and you're surrounded by life, your entire perspective on dying changes. It's no longer that terrifying, lonely event we talked about earlier. Instead, the author claims it can become a peaceful, maybe even a joyful transition.
I mean, this all sounds pretty incredible, right? Almost too good to be true. And that's exactly where the author introduces the final, crucial piece of the puzzle. As you might have guessed, there's a catch.
So you're probably sitting there thinking, okay, this is a nice idea, a cool thought experiment, but is it real? Or is this whole thing just a fantasy of what could be? And you know what? The author's answer is a surprising yes. According to the source, this isn't just a dream. This model has apparently been a functioning reality for more than a decade, which of course leads to the next obvious question: how do you get in? So, can anyone who needs it, maybe has the money, just sign up for this life? The answer is no. There is one very specific and, honestly, pretty mysterious requirement to get in. And here it is. The price of admission isn't money. It's something the author calls spiritual purification. That's it. That is the sole condition. Only people who have gone through this process, in the author's words, are allowed to enter this paradise.
Now, the source material never actually defines what this purification process is. It just drops this idea on us and leaves it hanging. And that leaves us with the final question. Is it about letting go of old grudges, finding some kind of higher purpose, the text leaves it totally up to us to interpret. So, I'll just leave you with this. What does a phrase like spiritual purification mean to you? And do you think our inner state, more than any system we can build, is the real key to a joyful end of life?